Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, we're going to be talking about what should fans' expectations be for the Buccaneers for the remainder of the 2020 season. Now, there has been a lot of heated discussion this past month about a lot of different things surrounding this team, and it's fair that these discussions have become heated because the Buccaneers have not been doing great the past month of football. Sure, they've been playing in close games, but at the end of the day, their past 4 games, they have a 1-3 record. They now have an overall record of 7 wins to 5 losses. A lot of people feel that their record could be better at this point. A lot of people feel that the season is done. They're only going to win with 7 to 9 wins. They're not going to make the playoffs, or if they do make the playoffs, they're going to get bounced in the first round. People are calling for the heads of Byron Leftwich, Bruce Arians, all these different types of people. They're calling Tom Brady washed. So many different opinions out there right now. For a winning team at the end of the day, I do want to point that out. And I do understand where some of the criticism is coming from the coaching staff, to, the overall record should be better than what it is right now, and the problems that have been present both on offense and on defense. I understand the criticisms there. But for people to say that the season is done and that, we're not going to make the playoffs and all these things, well, that's one of the reasons as to why I'm making this video. So, let's just talk about what happened at the beginning of the season in terms of high expectations, okay? And I will say this, myself, I'm sure other content creators, and I'm sure a lot of Bucs fans in general, all thought that this team was just going to be dominant, be one of the best teams in the NFC right off the bat, probably be the top team in the NFC, probably the only other team competing with them being the Saints or something along those lines. When you look at the talent on paper, there is reason to think that Tom Brady, Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, O.J. Howard, Rob Gronkowski, that's just the offense. And then on the defense, you have Shaq, Barrett, Jason Pierre-Paul, Levante David, Devin White, all these players who on paper look amazing. But as the season has progressed, things have been very up and down, right? And that hype has turned from really high expectations to now a lot of anger over what the actual product that is being produced right now. And I wanted to go to a Bruce Arians quote about this because it really did strike me. Bruce Arians had said, we knew that there was going to be problems on the offense in terms of continuity and things like that. I'm paraphrasing, by the way. But he then went on to say, but everybody wanted to give us the Lombardi in August. And I'll be honest, I fell into the hype. I'm sure a lot of other people fell into the hype as well. But whenever you sit down and really look at the situation, we should have expected these slight struggles to happen, right? With lack of continuity, lack of chemistry on the offensive side of the football with Tom Brady and his wide receivers and Tom Brady and the coaching staff, and, maybe some communication problems on defense as well. These things should have been expected because they did not have a lot of time to prepare. Now, you can make the same argument for other teams in the league right now, but we've seen other really good teams struggle. Teams like the Baltimore Ravens, teams like the Arizona Cardinals, among some other teams, have had similar struggles to what the Bucs have had as well. So that's just kind of something to keep in mind, as well as kind of looking around the league and looking at how other teams are performing. Now, granted, the Pittsburgh Steelers are undefeated, Kansas City Chiefs are doing really good, Saints are doing really good, etc., etc. But the Buccaneers just had a lot of hurdles to overcome, and, maybe expectations should have been tempered a bit. Now, I will say this. I think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will still finish the season with double-digit wins. They have 4 games left on the year, a game against the Vikings, a game against the Falcons, a game against the Detroit Lions, and then a game against the Falcons again to finish out the year. I think that they could win 3 out of those 4 games. I think that they could beat the Vikings. Dalvin Cook's a menace, but I think they could beat the Vikings. I think that they can split with the Falcons, maybe even sweep the Falcons. And then they could very easily defeat the Lions, as they don't even have their head coach and GM anymore. They're kind of just looking to maybe restart things over there in Detroit. So if you say maybe you have a Vikings win, a Falcons win, or a Lions win, or maybe you even have them sweeping the Falcons and beating the Lions, I think that they can still win 3 out of these next 4 games and finish with a 10-6 record, or maybe even 11-5 if you want to give them all 4 wins. And that's fine. I expected them to have 11-5 wins, or an 11-5 record, rather. I know a lot of people had a similar record. They might not have gotten there the way I thought that they were going to get there, but still, at the end of the day, if they have around that record, that's fine with me. It's the most win the Buccaneers will have had in a long time, minus that 9-7 year that they had with Dirk Cutter. It feels good to have a winning season, right? It would feel good to have some double-digit wins if they do get to that point. And I think that is entirely possible. So I don't think that the season's over. I don't think that they're only going to win 7 games or 9 games or 8 games or things like that. I still think that they can get to double-digit wins. I think that they are a talented enough team to get to double-digit wins. And if you look at the overall stats, this team is playing good. Ronald Jones is going to have 1,000 yards on the year. Tom Brady is going to be playing very good quarterback numbers when compared to other quarterbacks who have played their first year with Bruce Arians. The wide receiver numbers are going to be down a bit, but overall touchdown numbers have been fine, and the defensive stats have been fine. Carlton Davis is having a breakout year. Antoine Winfield Jr. has been fine. Jason Pierre-Paul is having a good year. Levante David is still good. We've even seen more from guys like Sue and Golston this year as well. So I don't think the sky is falling. I don't think this season is over. I still think this is going to be a playoff team. In terms of expectations for the remainder of the regular season, I still think that they will get to double-digit wins. But taking it a little bit deeper, what should we expect if the Buccaneers make the playoffs? How far can they get in the playoffs? Because it's pretty safe bet that they will be playing in the wild card round, as only one team gets a bye week this year due to the expanded playoff rules and things like that. We don't know which team it's going to be in the NFC, but I think it's a safe bet it's not going to be the Bucs. So how far can they make it in the playoffs? Will they get bounced in round 1? Will they make it to the divisional? Will they make it to the NFC Championship? Or are they still a Super Bowl contender? I would say this. I think if the Buccaneers do play in the wild card round, I think that they have a pretty decent chance of winning against whoever they're playing, right? I feel like the current crop of teams that are available right now for the Buccaneers to play in a wild card round, I feel like the Buccaneers can go toe-to-toe with them pretty hard in terms of a playoff game, especially whenever you consider a lot of the guys who haven't been to the playoffs before, they are going to be fighting tooth and nail to win that game, and all the guys who have been to the playoffs before, they're going to be wanting to go chase another Lombardi. So overall, everybody's got motivation. I know you can say that for all the other teams as well, but considering that they're playing with the GOAT Tom Brady and all these different types of things and factors and motivations, I do feel like this Buccaneers team is going to be insanely motivated to continue to chase that Lombardi. Tom Brady probably being at the top of that list. So I think they could win a wild card game. Divisional round, that one would be a little bit more difficult depending on who they would have to play. It all depends on the matchup at that point. Then if they are able to get past the divisional round, I don't know. I don't know if they'd be able to get past a divisional round game. We would have to wait and see, and really anything could happen. In terms of the hierarchy in the NFC, I still think it's entirely possible for any team to beat any team, and we have seen that from the Bucs this year when they just demolished the Green Bay Packers, but then they subsequently got demolished by the New Orleans Saints. So, that's the one team where I would be worried about, right? If they had to play the Saints in the playoffs, I don't have a ton of confidence right now that they would be able to win that game because of just the lack of overall preparedness we have seen in the past 2 games from the Buccaneers when they have played the Saints. And a third matchup, I have no reason to expect anything to be different at this point. So, overall, I do feel that this team can still make a deep playoff run. If they don't play the Saints, I think that they could go a lot farther in the playoffs. If it is a situation where the Bucs win a wild card game, they go to the divisional round, and they don't have to play the Saints, I think that they could win their divisional round, go to the championship game, and then maybe even win a championship game again. If they don't have to play the Saints, I think they have a way better chance of winning. If they do have to play the Saints, that would not be a fun game in my opinion. So it really all just depends on the matchups. I think whoever they play in the wild card, I think they'd be fine. Divisional, if they don't play the Saints, I still think that they would be fine. Championship game, if they don't play the Saints, I think they have a good chance of making the Super Bowl. And I know that that's super crazy optimistic, James, but that's just how I feel in terms of overall matchup based thoughts and things like that. So guys, I'm just going to say this. I don't think the world's ending on this season. The Buccaneers are 7-5. They are a winning team right now. They're the 6th seed, I believe, or maybe even the 5th seed in the NFC playoff rankings right now. How many years has it been since we've been able to say that as Bucs fans? So I've been seeing a meme going around, talking about this where it's like, I'm just enjoying the best start the Buccaneers have had in a decade. And, I do agree with that. And I do understand a lot of the criticism with the coaching staff and things like that. And things should change for them to be an even better team. but they're overcoming a lot of odds right now despite that, and still have a 7-5 record. And, you know, for us longtime Bucs fans who have had to deal with a lot of pain and misery, I will take a 7-5 record most of the all the time, basically. If it means that they finish with a winning record, be it 10-6, 11-5, I'm great with that record. 9-7 would be a little bit disappointing, but I still think that that record would put them in the playoffs, and I still have my same thoughts as to how they would do in the playoffs, even with the 9-7 record. But obviously an 8-8 or a 7-9 record would be very disappointing, but I honestly don't expect that whatsoever. I expect this team to not only finish with a winning record, but I still think that they will finish with double-digit wins, and they will make a lot of noise in the playoffs. And the sky's not falling, guys. The world is not ending. Let's just take this bye week, the remainder of this bye week, to just sit back, relax, and enjoy the remainder of this ride for the Buccaneers season. Hopefully they can string together some wins, get some double-digit wins, and then we can get rolling into the playoffs. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you all enjoyed. I will see you guys in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.